Welcome! Bienvenidos to the 11th Caring for Our Watersheds final competition and award ceremony. This would have been the 12th competition and award ceremony, but unfortunately, we had to cancel last year's ceremony due to the COVID-19 pandemic. With some extra effort, time, and energy, and not to mention with today's technology, we are able to host this year's final competition virtually. This is the first time we host the Colorado contest in this format, so thank you for joining us. If you're watching live, please feel free to show your support by participating in the live chat. My partner Cindy and I will be present in the live chat. We encourage you to use the applause icon to show your support as we normally would during our in-person event. If you're watching after the premiere, you're welcome to show your support by commenting below this video in the comments section. You may also play the live chat that occurred during the premiere. Let's give this a try. We would love to know who is joining us. Whether you're watching live or watching after the premiere, let us know in the live chat or in the comment section below your role in caring for our watersheds. And let us know how many people are watching with you from the same device so we have a better idea as to how many individuals are watching. For example, are you a contestant and watching the premiere with 4 other family members? Maybe a parent, guardian, sibling, aunt or uncle, cousin, or grandparent? Or are you a judge, mentor, or a teacher? Maybe a volunteer, a Caring for a Watershed partner, or a community member. Whoever you are, we would like to thank you for joining us. We have a wonderful group of finalists and honorable mentions this year, and we cannot wait to share their amazing ideas with you. To our contestants, please take photos as you watch the final competition and award ceremony. This is a memorable moment, and it's always great to document those amazing moments, so you have something to look back to later on. You've worked really hard to implement your project. Contestants, please feel free to share your photos with me so that we can document the successful launch of our virtual competition. First, I would like to take a look at our program's name, Caring for Our Watersheds. What is a watershed? Well, let's take a look at this short clip to have a better understanding behind that word.
What is a watershed? Is it a shed that holds water? Nah, try again. A watershed is all of the land that drains into the same location or body of water. People tend to think only of water bodies such as rivers, lakes, and wetlands as being part of their watershed. However, any land, whether it is park, farm, forest, school parking lot, and even the soil we build our homes on is also included. Think of a watershed as a funnel, collecting all the water within a specific area and draining into the nearest body of water. Drop by drop, water is channeled into soil, groundwater, creeks and streams, making its way to larger rivers and eventually the ocean. Everyone in the world lives in a watershed. Watersheds know no political borders, whether local, national, or international. Our environment, our economy, and our society all depend on a healthy watershed.
Taking care of the environment requires more than simply talking about it. It calls for stewardship and a lighter footprint. That's why Nutrien launched Caring for Our Watersheds.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Caring for Our Watersheds final competition. My name is Chloe Sprecher, and I am the Education Program Coordinator at Nutrien. I'm responsible for leading program development and supporting our partner organizations in executing Caring for Our Watersheds in their respective regions. You may not know this, but Nutrien is the program founder and the primary sponsor of Caring for Our Watersheds, and we couldn't be prouder to support this amazing program and your environmental solutions. At Nutrien, our purpose is to grow our world from the ground up. As the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services, Nutrien plays a critical role in feeding the future by helping growers increase food production in a sustainable manner that protects our land, air, and water for generations to come. Environmental stewardship is a key focus area for our community investments and for our overarching sustainability strategy. We also recognize the role that all of you play in a healthy future for our industry and our planet as tomorrow's decision makers. You are also stakeholders in society right now, and you have the power to create positive, lasting change in your communities and beyond. We all have a role to play as individuals, schools, communities, business, nonprofit, and governments to protect and improve our local watersheds. Caring for Our Watersheds was started in 2007, nearly 15 years ago, in the Battle River Watershed in Alberta, Canada. After a 3-year pilot, the program was expanded and now includes 9 contests around the world. Our contest regions continue to grow as well, and we will reach over 35,000 students this year who have participated in the program since 2007. Caring for Our Watersheds has also created lasting impact for our program participants by teaching real-life skills that you can put on your resume or college application, like researching, planning, budgeting, written and verbal communication. There's opportunity to work with and develop relationships with community experts. In some cases, the program has led to students realizing a passion, expanding their idea, or even pursuing careers and other opportunities in the environmental space, all stemming from their participation in caring for our watersheds. Most importantly, I hope this program teaches students like you that you can make a difference. Caring for our watersheds would not be possible without community support. Our partner organizations working directly with you, teachers, parents, mentors, judges, volunteers, and community partners, over 150 community partners across our contests, come together because we believe in your ideas and we want to help support you in making that difference. We have implemented over 500 student-led action projects to date. If you have not already done so, I hope that I've inspired you to take advantage of the support and the implementation funding available and make your project a reality. Implementing your environmental solution is where the tangible, lasting impact occurs for your personal growth, for your watershed, and for your community. Today is the day to celebrate your environmental solutions, your hard work, and your major accomplishment of having a top idea among the many good ideas that we receive. Congratulations to all of you. You are all winners. Have fun today.
Caring for a Watershed asks students to submit a proposal that answers the question, what can you do to improve your watershed? Students research their local watershed, identify an environmental concern, and come up with one realistic solution. Every year, students compete for over $6,000 in rewards. Nutrien also provides $10,000 to help implement students' ideas. Additionally, participating schools and clubs are eligible for over $11,000 in rewards through the matching of final cash prizes, and $10 for every entry submitted to Caring for Our Watersheds to be used to extend students' learning about their watershed. The Poudre Learning Center is honored to offer Caring for Our Watersheds in Colorado to high school students that live in the Big Thompson and Cache La Poudre watersheds. Over 200 students from Larimer and Weld counties entered this year's contest. The top proposals were selected in January by over 40 community judges. Each proposal has been provided constructive feedback by a team of community members. We encourage teams that were not selected for the finals to use the feedback to update their proposal and enter the contest again the following year. Each proposal was read a minimum of 3 times, scored and rescored. The papers were then judged again in a roundtable discussion. This group selected the top proposals. Then, Nutrien provided $1,000 to each team to implement the proposal between January and May. On Friday, May 7th, these teams virtually presented their accomplishments to a panel of judges for a chance to win a cash prize of up to $1,000 for both their team and for their school. We look forward to sharing their presentations with you soon. We will also announce each team's placement for the final competition with you. Finalists and honorable mentions have articulated their ideas onto printed posters that will be displayed at the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery for a minimum of 2 weeks starting May 17th. Each finalist team has also provided a summary of their project and will be posted each Friday on the Poudre Learning Center's Facebook page. This year's Caring for a Watershed winning teams improved our watershed. The ripple effect that each team has started cannot be measured. By participating in this program, they are making a difference in the world. Congratulations to all the teams. We're happy to take this time to honor the students that have taken on the challenge to improve our watershed. But first, for these high school students to succeed, there are many people involved in the program that deserve recognition. Teachers, without you, this event would not be possible. You are the true leaders that improve our world. You have allowed us to virtually come into your classroom and recruit students, help the students write and rewrite their papers. You attended our meetings with your teams and guided them through the implementation process. You gave them the opportunity and confidence to try something new and impactful. You all did this during a pandemic. To all of the teachers, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Parents, we live and die with everything our children do. You have lived through this project with your child. You are their cornerstone for implementation. Again, your love and support has allowed your child to make a difference in our world. Thank you is not enough. We also want to thank the entire staff at the Poudre Learning Center for your support, time and energy and expertise as we navigate through this year's challenges presented by the pandemic. A big thank you to Nutrien for creating such an amazing and impactful program for our students. As the corporate sponsor of Caring for Our Watersheds, Nutrien supports youth across the United States, Canada, and Argentina by turning their environmental ideas into solutions. Caring for Our Watersheds provides the means and resources for high school students to truly take action in their watershed. What an amazing company to help our youth change the world. Communities partner, City of Greeley Water and Sewer. You always step up even during the most challenging times. The city has never fallen short in providing judges, mentors, speakers, volunteers, project funding, and expertise. Your support continues to improve the quality experience for our students. So, thank you. We would also like to recognize and thank our community partners, Central Colorado Water Conservancy District, High Plains Environmental Center, and the Poudre Learning Center Foundation for helping us judge and/or mentor this year's teams. Your support makes a huge difference, especially during trying times like this year. And thank you to Fort Collins Museum of Discovery for allowing us to display the students' posters at their site and for gifting each winning team an annual family membership. Lastly, we want to thank all our judges and mentors. These individuals freely gave their time and expertise to meticulously read and evaluate every proposal that was turned in. Once every proposal was read and scored, these judges spent an entire day discussing and selecting the top final proposals. Then they volunteered to help the students implement their solutions. All of you gave your time and energy. Thank you so, so much. For our viewers, if you have someone or a group of people you would like to recognize for being involved in caring for our watersheds, please make sure to recognize them directly in the live chat or the comment section below, even if they were already mentioned. I would like you to meet my partner for Caring for Our Watersheds, Cindy Kieses. I am honored to work with such an amazing and experienced leader. Cindy, thank you for continuing to provide your support, energy, expertise, and feedback year after year.
Hello, my name is Cindy Kiesis, and I am a Watershed Ambassador for the Caring for Our Watersheds program. I began with the Caring for Our Watersheds program as a teacher, having my students enter the contest. After I retired, I moved into my current role, helping other teachers and their classes participate. Every year, I'm amazed and proud of the creativity and hard work the students put into their proposals to better our watershed. This year's finalists and honorable mentions have done an outstanding job and are a credit to their school and their teachers. Thank you to all of you for helping to make our future brighter.
Up next are the finalist virtual presentations. On Friday, May 7th, finalist teams virtually presented their ideas and implementation process to a panel of judges for a chance to win a cash prize of up to $1,000 for both their team and for their school. Judges evaluated each verbal presentation using the Caring for Watersheds rubric. This score, in combination with each team's proposal score from January, will determine the team's placement for the final competition. Teams had 5 minutes to present, followed by a 5-minute Q&A. Let's meet the verbal content judges.
Hello, my name is Maria Bujanovic. I am an environmental advisor for Nutrien, and I've been involved with Caring for Our Watersheds since 2019. And as an environmental advisor, a large part of my job is to ensure environmental regulations and Nutrien's conservation and sustainability goals are being met to the highest standard by all of our operations.
Hi, my name is Nina Cudahy, and I am the Deputy Director of Operations and Maintenance for Greeley Water and Sewer. And I believe that we contribute to the health of the watershed by being involved in source water protection and work with other watershed organizations to monitor the water quality and track the changing trends over time. This year in particular, we're watching the fire damage that's occurred in the watershed, and we've done extensive mitigation to those areas to protect water quality in the Poudre River. We try to keep our Bellevue Water Treatment Plant informed and make sure that they are aware of what source water they're getting to treat to provide drinking water to Greeley and the surrounding communities.
Hi, my name's Amy Nickel, and I'm the curriculum coordinator at the Poudre Learning Center. And my role in the watershed would be just to help students and adults learn a little bit more about what the watershed is and how we can interact with the watershed and how we can improve it. And we especially look at the Poudre River that goes right by our place.
Hi, my name is Randy Ray. I work for the Central Colorado Water Conservancy District located in Greeley. I am the district's executive director. Central participates in both the Thompson and the Poudre River watersheds. We have water storage and water rates located in those watersheds. And we also contribute to educational activities such as the Children's Water Festival. We participate also in the Poudre Learning Center activities. In addition, the Well Watch program, many area schools have groundwater observation wells at their school.
Hello, my name is Ray Schiller. I'm the director of the Poudre Learning Center, and my role in the watershed is to, through experiential learning opportunities, build relationships, understanding, and value for our watershed.
Now that we've met our verbal content judges, let's view the finalist presentations. First, we have Brookelynn Hernandez and Helena Ringel from Greeley West High School presenting their project, Mother Native.
Hello, my name is Brookelynn.
And my name is Helena Ringel.
And we're students at Greeley West, and today we'll be presenting to Mother Native. In this slideshow, we're going to be presenting all of these topics.
So a bit about our watersheds. The city of Greeley is supported by the Poudre and Big Thompson watersheds. These resources are essential to the health of the flora and fauna in our region and are also a life source for the people who live here. Healthy watersheds can provide clean drinking water, productive fisheries, and water for agriculture and recreation. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, watersheds also provide important ecosystem services such as nutrient cycling, carbon storage, increased biodiversity, flood control, and water storage and filtration. An area of Poudre River was designated as a National Heritage Area, so it's important to preserve the history and beauty of the river so that others may enjoy it too. So this is our watershed issue and solution. Many conventional styles of landscaping require large amounts of water, pesticides, fertilizers, care, and money. Those harsh chemicals and nutrients can then travel into our watersheds through runoff and contaminate the water. They can also seep into soil and affect groundwater, making it unsuitable for human and agricultural use. The water quality and ecosystem will be damaged because the natural processes and functions are disrupted by foreign chemicals and potent nutrients. This causes eutrophication and pollution in our watersheds. Colorado has been in a drought these past couple years, so it's an important time for Coloradans to conserve water. Not only that, but it's an invaluable resource and we should always be looking for ways to preserve it. One way to save water is through xeriscaping and the use of native plants. Oftentimes, people use non-indigenous plants to landscape their yard or recreational areas. Non-native plants may become invasive or even introduce pests and disease that threaten native plants, animals, and humans. This is a bit about the process and how native plants can help our environment.
Okay, here's just a quick overview of our budget. So overall, we purchased 165 individual 1-inch succulents from 2 different vendors, 200 clear cups, 200 compostable planters, 2 large tablecloths, 2 medium-sized shrubs, and we were under the budget by only using $720. So we decided to purchase succulents because they are beginner-friendly, low-water, low-maintenance plants. We chose to distribute them at the farmers market because this demographic of people are traditionally more progressive-minded when it comes to climate change, and we knew our words would mean the most to them. The draw of the booth would essentially be the free plants, and to include kids, we set up a system in which they could decorate a cup and repot their new succulent. For the first date, about 40% of the attendees were kids, and the interactive station was the first one they saw, so everyone did come up and talk to us, and we were able to have a conversation with nearly everyone at the market and everyone who came up to our booth. Here's just a quick picture, and the numbers of attendees varied, so we did have to make some improvisations to our stock. So the next time we were at the market, we did order more, and we also decided to create a directions card with actions in place for aftercare. With the many questions heard from the first date, we knew we needed to do more to reach them when the individuals got home. The second date was our most successful date. We had 90 plants from an alternate vendor from the first one and a more in-depth care and information for the people when they left. They were mostly new faces, and some people actually did come back with more friends and family to get more plants and learn more about our booth. And yeah, here's more pictures. As you can see, a pamphlet, and then on the other side are the care instructions that we created. And then another picture. And then after the market dates, so before the 2 events, we did create a pamphlet in which it included basic information as to why we were fortunate enough to be there, talking about what the watershed project was and where we were funded and all of that. And we also gave resources to individuals if they did want to continue on and xeriscape their yard. We made an in-depth website, and we also got in contact with other individuals from the community who wanted to work with us later, such as RAs from UNC and a job interview. Here are SDGs, and the 2 that we chose were climate action and life on land. Climate action, the mechanism we had approach plan to take more action with climate change by spreading the word and reaching people from nearly all backgrounds. By utilizing and engaging kids at the market, we can get them excited about making small changes to fixing the watershed issues. And life on land, by saving more water, we can conserve and restore terrestrial and freshwater ecosystems, preserve degraded and deforested land, and plants will not be in risk from outside invasive things. All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, so it looks like you guys used $720.
Yeah,
for under budget, and you had a budget of $1,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any reason why you didn't use the full $1,000?
Right. No, there's not really a reason at all. We tried to find the cheapest options available so that in case we did need more plants in the long run, we had the resources available. And yeah, we weren't deprived of anything. We definitely had more than what we needed, and we were able to get everything across with what we did create.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Okay, you guys want to unshare your screen? Yeah, there we go. Okay, who has another question? Okay, Ray Schiller.
Who has another? Ray Schiller.
Ray, you're muted.
Yes, I was muted. Thank you. Great job. I was saying things about Cindy when I was muted. So, great job, you guys. I really appreciate what you did, and like the idea of native plants. Could you make a stronger? Tell me more about the relationship between how native plants would slow down the use of chemicals or the impact of chemicals.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know it was muted. But yeah, so native plants, they have very intricate root systems, and they can filter and infiltrate water, which reduces flooding and runoff, improves groundwater systems also. They can store and absorb carbon dioxide, and while producing oxygen, which improves air quality. They also require significantly less water, pesticides, fertilizer, because they're already used to the environment around them compared to non-indigenous plants. So yeah, native plants are a form of xeriscaping, so they can reduce residential water use by 50 to 70%. So they're a lot better option for the environment in areas like Colorado.
Yeah, and as for reducing pesticides and other products such as that, if it is native to the land, it won't take as much maintenance, and it will automatically adapt to where it's planted, and it will be guarded and safer from other foreign things that may affect it.
Great, thank you. Very good job.
Thanks.
Okay, judges. Okay, Amy.
Just a quick question, actually two real fast. What farmers market did you do? And did you seem like the demographics, the people that were going to plant it would be planting it outside, like at their home, or did you get an idea of where they were going to put the plants?
Right. Actually, yeah, we went to the Greeley Farmers Market where we're from, and we did have a lot of questions from people who asked about the aftercare and if they could plant it outside, what to do if they did, or just keep it inside.
Yeah, a lot of people were familiar with xeriscaping and native plants, so they were just excited to see like what we had to say and like what our project was about. They definitely like were curious about like where we could plant it and what to do with it.
Right, and we also gave them references as to where to purchase, what to buy, and other aftercare.
Okay, looks like that questioning time is over. Thank you, ladies. You did an awesome job. And Yvonne will move us where she wants us to be.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, Brookelynn and Helena, on a wonderful presentation. It's not easy being the first group to present, but you both did a fantastic job. Hope you learned a thing or two on water conservation. As we saw from their presentation, we can take several steps to better conserve our water and become watershed stewards. Up next, we have Emma Eddy from Fort Collins High School presenting her project, #WatershedWash.
So I'm Emma Eddy, and this is my project, Watershed Wash. To start, I'm a sophomore at Fort Collins High School, and protecting the Cache la Poudre is important to me because I believe we should do what we can to protect the environment we live in. The Cache la Poudre watershed houses over 300,000 people and covers over 1,000 square miles of land. This land includes Fort Collins, Greeley, and Windsor. And my project was made to address the problem of at-home car washing. And my solution is all about spreading the effects and educate our community. So this is a map of the Cache la Poudre watershed. The problem addresses at-home car washes that cause contamination due to toxic ingredients and debris. Phosphates, hydrofluoric acid are often found in car washing soaps, and the acid, even in low amounts, is toxic. And the water that then flows off your car with those chemicals travels into storm drains, and these storm drains are unfiltered, untreated, and all of the ones located in Fort Collins City drain directly into the Poudre River. This affects our watershed's freshwater quantity and quality. Car washing facilities have filtration and reclamation systems to be able to reuse and conserve water. Water that is too contaminated is transferred to wastewater treatment plants, or more known as the water reclamation facility. And these facilities are able to clean the water to a higher standard than river water. This is a local picture of stormwater that has run through a storm pipe and has picked up some sort of chemical or material that's caused suds. My solution is all about the use of social media platforms and YouTube to spread the education to the community. My YouTube video showcases the effects that at-home car washes have on our watershed. Using social media and my hashtag #WatershedWash to spread the word is a current, powerful, and free solution that has no geographical boundaries and has the potential to be spread far beyond the local watershed. I also embedded a contest into my video, so 3 people from within the Poudre watershed area were selected as winners of Breeze Through Unlimited car washing passes. And because of these 3 winners, 156 at-home car washes are prevented, even if they go just once a week for a year. Now I'd like to show a portion of my video. When you wash your car at home, the water coming off of your tires is filled with debris from the roads and concretes, like on your driveway. Okay, now I would like to address the Sustainable Development Goals. My solution contributes to the goal of clean water and sanitation. Specifically, Target 6.3 is all about reducing pollution, minimize release of hazardous chemicals, and eliminate dumping. My solution addresses this target because the point of not washing your car at home is to prevent those chemicals from entering our water supply. Target 6.6 is about protecting and restoring water-related ecosystems that include mountains, forests, wetlands, rivers, aquifers, and lakes. My solution also addresses this target because going to a car wash prevents contaminations in rivers and lakes through untreated storm drains. Nutrien gave me a generous budget of $1,000, and with the 3 unlimited wash passes, they were going to come out to $564, but Breeze Through generously donated them to me. So $30 went to Starbucks gift cards to my video editor and their family. At-home car washes aren't just a local issue, but I began addressing it locally to our Poudre watershed. #WatershedWash will continue to spread on social media platforms. The first 2 weeks on YouTube, the video had over 100 views and 20 shares on Facebook. Even the Fort Collins utility site social media platforms also shared my video and hashtag. The contest was embedded to influence people to share and prevent contamination. I now encourage all of you to please visit your local commercial car wash facility. Thank you.
Okay, nice job, Emma. Sorry, I was talking to myself alone in my room.
No, it's okay. Thank
I was
you.
muted. I have a feeling judges might do that too. So judges, it's time for you to ask Emma some questions if you have them. So anybody want to go first? Ray Shillard.
Oh, Nina was up first. So
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you, Nina.
That's okay. So Emma, you had up to $1,000 of implementation funds and had the car wash passes donated to you. Did you consider adding on to your project to increase your impact, considering you had substantial funds available?
I do think I would have. I would have liked to incorporate more winners into my competition, but I wasn't sure if I'd have enough time. And because of COVID, I didn't know how meeting up with them would work. And so most of my winners were contacted by email, and one was actually at my school. So I was able to do that, but I would have incorporated more winners.
Okay, thank you.
So great job. Appreciate you doing this. So what do you say to the person that says the car wash doesn't get my car very clean, and leaves a film on it that just makes me go back to the car wash again and waste more water.
I would say that I feel that car washes offer a lot of different packages, first of all, that I think can get your car fairly clean. And I think, like car washes, they use filters that actually can reuse water. So if they're concerned about conservation, I would say that it's okay to go more than once a week.
Good.
Thank
I'll
you.
share that with my wife, who doesn't like me going so often. Okay.
Okay, next judge, Amy.
So kind of a unique idea, good presentation. How did you come up with the idea? Were you out washing your car and saw all the stuff coming off, or how did you come up with it?
Thank you for that question, actually. So in the class that I created this solution, he kind of had a list of things and everybody was kind of choosing like to address storm drains. And I was like, what about car washing? Like I've been known to wash my car at home. And so I kind of just did a little bit of research, and I'd have to say that there's limited amount of research on this. And so I kind of thought, well, why not? Like I thought it was something that I didn't know about that I could educate other people on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask Randy because he had his hand up before. So Randy, did you have a question?
I did. Great presentation. My question has to do with what you plan on doing after this competition, and how is hashtag watershed wash going? Are you seeing a lot of feedback?
Yeah. So even though this competition was in a limited amount of time, I created my solution so that the video will still be out there for forever. So I just keep sharing it with people. The more people I talk to, I mention it. And hashtag watershed wash, actually, my dad was going to post something on Instagram and he hasn't posted anything about it. And as soon as he typed in hashtag, it actually came up. So it's clear to me that people are seeing it. And I mean, the more I use it, the more my family uses it, the more the winners use it, it'll get to more and more people.
Did you collect some information or research? Do you think that the washing your car at home takes less water than at the car wash?
I actually didn't research that, but I'm sure I could find some information on that. Thank you.
Okay, Maria, did you still want to ask a question?
Yeah, Ray touched on part of what my question was going to be about, just how much exposure this hashtag has received so far, and kind of what your view counts are in terms of your YouTube, and then also what the engagement looks like on Instagram.
Yeah, so on YouTube, I actually checked last night and we're almost at over 200 views. So that's great news. And the comments have gone down because the comments were mainly to pick my winners. But the shares on Facebook, I think they're still around 20 or 30. And then my hashtag is being spread through those shares. So, yeah.
Okay, anybody else have a question? Great. Okay, Emma, you did a really great job. Good for you.
Thank you.
Way to go, Emma. What a creative way to implement a project during the COVID-19 pandemic. Viewers, were you aware of the systems that are put in place at car washes to increase water use efficiency? What about the important role car washes fulfill to decrease the contamination of our stormwater? Emma's presentation will definitely make you think twice before washing your car at home. Next, we have Juan RH Hernandez from Northridge High School presenting his project, Education for Younger Generations.
Hello, my name is Juan RH Hernandez. I'm a senior at Northridge High School. And my title for my project is Education for Younger Generation. So the watershed issue that I'm doing is based in the Greeley watershed, which contains the Poudre River and the South Platte River. The issue I'm addressing is the lack of education children have on the watershed. And the solution I have is that I created an activity for third grade children at S. Krista McAuliffe Elementary School here in Greeley. So the research I conducted said that people are more likely to create healthy environmental habits if they learn about it at a younger age. So according to Environmental Magazine, if children spend more time outside and if people teach children about the environment at a younger age, they're more likely to become environmentally conscious and environmentally responsible. According to Build Your Future, they conducted a research that proved that students learn better with hands-on learning. So according to their research, some students who learned with hands-on learning activities scored 1.5 times higher than those students who didn't. So I had some COVID restrictions that I had to follow. So I made sure that the activity could be done at home just in case the students were quarantined during the time of my implementation. So in order to do that, I made a demonstrational video that made them follow steps to how to use a watershed model that I made for them. And then, as I said before, the research said that students who went outside more often were able to become more environmentally conscious. So I made sure to include in the demonstrational video that they should go outside to gather some things for their models. And then also I made sure they were to go outside for COVID, especially because they have been online. They've been staring at their screens and all that during school. So I wanted to make sure during this activity they went outside. And also I was not able to go into the classroom during the activity. So I made sure that I met through Zoom with the classroom, just in case that they had any questions or they needed any help with the activity. So the activity consisted of a pre-quiz, the main activity, and the post-quiz. So the activity technically was that I made watershed models with bins and aluminum foil, and all they had to do was draw farms, roads, a river, houses, and cows to simulate the Greeley watershed. And then they sprinkled instant coffee onto the roads and cows to simulate oil and cow manure, and then they used Kool-Aid powder onto the farms, and that simulated pesticides and fertilizers. And then they used spray bottles to spray onto the model, and that simulated rain, and it showed them how humans affect the watershed. So these are the results from the quizzes. The pre-quiz shows that they scored poorly, and then after the quiz, they took the post-quiz, and it showed them that they learned from the activity and they scored better. So this is my budget and implementation. I ordered my materials. I got in contact with a third grade teacher. I wrote a script and recorded my demonstrational video. I constructed the watershed models. Then I distributed the watershed models. And then I zoomed into the third grade class to do the activity. And the final budget came to $290. These are my sustainable development goals. I had goal number 4, which was to ensure inclusive equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. I specifically did target 4.7, which was to ensure all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development through education and sustainable development and lifestyles. And then I did goal number 12, which was ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns, specifically target 12.8, which was to ensure that people everywhere have the relevant information and awareness for sustainable development and lifestyles in harmony with nature. And thank you.
Nice job, Juan.
Thank you.
Way to go. Okay, so we're going to have some questions from the judges.
Alrighty.
So judges, if you have a question, you can raise your hand. Okay, I see Ray Schiller's hand again.
Maria's was up first. So
Oh, hey, Maria, go for it.
Okay, thanks. I put one up real quick, so it snuck up on everyone. One, awesome job. This is great. I'm happy to hear that some third graders got some good education on this. So that's excellent. My question for you is, what made you choose third grade specifically? I know you mentioned that young educating youth on the watershed is important, but why third grade specifically?
Well, it was what was available at the time. I did it, first of all, I did it at the S. Krista McAuliffe. I think I said that. And I contacted the STEM instructional lead over there, and I just wanted a classroom that was available to help me out with this project, and it came out to be a third grade class.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ray, you want to go now?
Juan, I really like what you're doing. Great job. And if you ever need a job, come out to the Poudre Learning Center. We could use you.
Thank you.
I have love the idea. Have you looked at moving it into another watershed? And if so, what steps have you done to assure that we could see it in another watershed?
I have not looked into that, but I feel like I would have enough base. Pretty much, I would have enough to start with that, with expanding. So I have the basic knowledge to have the activity that I could do with anyone, and yeah.
Where did you get your idea for the activity?
I watched a YouTube video that pretty much how to make a watershed model, and I was just like, oh, that's really, really helpful. And also I've participated in this competition 2 other times, and I really liked how when they were introducing the competition, they had a watershed model and they were showing us how the watershed works, and I just thought it was a really cool tool to use.
So you really like what Cindy Kiesis did in your classroom?
Yes.
Thanks.
Sweet. Great job.
Okay, it looks like Nina has a question.
Yeah, excellent job. I like what you did. So I know that you surveyed the students pre-exercise and post-exercise. Did you talk with any of the teachers in those classrooms to see if they felt like this was something they would continue on with?
Yes, the teacher that I worked with looked over the quiz and the activity, and she said that she would keep a couple watershed models to hopefully introduce the activity to her future classrooms.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, any other judges have a question? Okay, I think you did such a great job, Juan, that they don't have any more questions for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amazing idea, Juan. He did an amazing job expanding the Caring for Watersheds presentation into the 3rd grade classrooms. The content fits perfectly with the science curriculum that is in place for that grade. Way to adapt your project to COVID-19 challenges. Up next, we have Kimberly Gonzalez Jimenez from Greeley Central High School presenting her project, Our Blooming Watershed.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Gonzalez Jimenez, and this is my project, Our Blooming Watershed. When I first received this project, I couldn't help and think back to my elementary days, where I remember planting a pollinator garden with my class out in the school field. And that memory has stuck with me as it became a key part in watching the pollinators fly around and land on the own flowers that we had planted. So now when I thought about it, I thought, I'm not seeing that anymore. I don't look around and see the pollinators landing. So I decided to do some research and ask myself, why? Why am I not seeing those same pollinators that I once saw? And I discovered that our pollinator species are currently declining. Their populations are dropping steadily, such as with the monarch butterfly, which has had a drop of more than 80% since the mid-1990s. As we can see on the scatter plot to the left, bottom left, we are seeing that they are steadily declining. If a line were to be drawn, it would be steadily going down. And this isn't just the monarch butterfly. This includes other pollinators such as the honeybees, which as of 1947, they had 6 million hives. Now we're down to only 2.4 million hives as of 2008. So I thought, what can I do to address this issue? And my solution was, why not plant a pollinator garden? Why not plant 2 for it? So I chose an area which was by the Red Barn at the Poudre River and near the river itself, the trails. So I gathered a small team of 3 volunteers from the Green Cats, my school's environmental club, and we were able to implement my project. All it took was one Saturday morning, and we were able to plant 14 different types of plants that were known to attract pollinators, really. And we did this also included the goal of protecting, restoring, and promoting sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, which is a part of the Sustainable Development Goals. And we did this locally, but this is a nationwide goal. So locally, we were helping due to the fact that I chose plants and flowers that were local and sustainable for a region, meaning that they would grow year after year and provide to the biodiversity that was right here. We planted this in areas where there was very few terrestrial ecosystems, and we were able to restore our stable and mitigate the biodiversity loss for these pollinators. And this will create biodiversity and provide vegetation where there previously wasn't any. And we achieved this luckily thanks to our budget which included the gardening supplies with $120, plus the $454 that we used to grab 14 different types of plants and flower seeds. All this totaling up to $573 with 80 cents, 40 cents. And we were able to put this all together with only that amount of money, the $573. And we did this we started this project from the October when I wrote up my proposal, and up to now. In short 9 months, we were able to select the planting site, purchase all our materials needed, and this month, on the 1st, we were able to clear out and prepare the area for sowing and finish it that same day. And now the only thing left to do is set up our signs to inform the public of our watershed and why this is such an important moment and why this garden is so important. It includes the flowers that were planted there so the public can enjoy while being informed. So now the only thing left to do is put these signs up and watch our seeds grow roots and give a home to our pollinators.
Thank you, Kimberly. Nice job.
Is there any questions?
Well, let's see. Judges, what do you got? Okay, all kinds of hands. Nina, I see you. Unmute yourself.
Yep, I just did. So how did you go about selecting the plants that you wanted to plant there?
Oh, we looked at resources such as the forests, and they had a great section on when it came to plant time pollen for our local pollinators, and we looked at what regionally grew here, what would be able to grow year after year without them being needed to be replanted. We took in consideration the soil type, the weather, the time of year that they would bloom. So we have plants that will bloom not only in the spring, but also fall, winter, and summer. So they could be growing year round and yeah.
Great job. Thank you.
Okay, Randy?
Great job, Kimberly. How do you plan to maintain, or have you passed on some suggestions to maintain your pollinator gardens?
The flowers that we chose, they were selected because they would need much maintaining. Since they were already ready to be for that native area, it's just up to nature now. Yeah. They were chosen specifically since there wouldn't be much maintaining needed to be done. So, nature.
Okay, it looks like Amy has a question.
Nice job, Kimberly. I was wondering, you talked about, finding something that was right for the soil type. Did you guys have to do some tests on the soil at all to decide what would go there? And my other part of that question is, how did you choose that area?
No tests were done on the soil. It was done on the soil that is typically on there since it is by the Poudre River. I wasn't able to test the soil beforehand I chose the seeds since the proposal was written beforehand. And I'm sorry, could you repeat the second portion of that question?
Sure. How did you choose the area that you planted in?
Oh, I chose the area due to the fact that there was a river nearby, so I'm very confident that it will be getting plenty of water. And there's already some pretty big other animals and such as beavers and the birds there. So and I also chose it actually because of the trail. I knew that there was plenty of people that came to walk there, so there would be plenty of people to look at the garden bloom and just watch the pollinators in action, which is really what I wanted.
Okay. All right, Ray, looks like you got a question. Remember to unmute yourself, Ray.
I was so excited to get started. Great job. I'm so impressed with your knowledge of the plants and why you selected that spot. But I was curious if you thought this was a project that could be repeated in all parts of Greeley and Evans. Is that something, let's say you're at Greeley Central, so if somebody wanted to, that lived around Greeley Central, is this something that they could do there?
Yeah, I'm actually very, very confident that this will be able to be done anywhere that there is soil that's able to nurture. I'm very confident that it is something that can not only be done locally but nationwide, and as small or as big as you want, from a small garden in your backyard up to a large field. I am very confident that this can be reproduced anywhere.
So do you think one step might be to look at places like oil and gas companies or irrigation companies that are putting a new pipe in, that they could actually use this type of seeding to, when they tear up the land to put in their new pipelines and so on, to when they reestablish that? Could they use this type of seeding instead of just regular grasses?
I had actually not done any research on that, but from what I hear, if the land is already being dug up and will just be put right together with emptiness, I'm confident that it would be able to be done if the conditions are right, and it would be a great way to make use of that land. I can see that happening.
Are you running for office next? You could. Okay, that's good. All right, thank you.
Okay, nice job, Kimberly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Garden projects can be difficult to implement, especially with our contest timeline, but that didn't stop Kimberly from implementing. Fantastic job, Kimberly. Make sure to check out her pollinator garden at the Poudre River Ranch Natural Area. Before we move to the next presentation, we're going to take a 10-minute intermission for a well-deserved break. This is a great opportunity to step away from your device and stretch. Welcome back! Hope you enjoyed that short break. Let's continue with the final presentations. Next, we have Pamela P from Northridge High School presenting her project, The Panda's Choice.
Hello, my name is Pamela Perez. I am a junior at Northridge High School. I love art, music, and exploring this beautiful world. I chose to address this problem with plastic toothbrushes. As a person, I brush my teeth every day. As little as a toothbrush, it can destroy the environment. Did you know plastic toothbrushes are bad for our watershed? Toothbrushes take over 400 years to decompose, and while they are set in landfills, they continue to release chemicals into the air. Not only are plastic toothbrushes bad for us, but electric ones are too. They need batteries, and the old ones often get I'm sorry, I forgot what that word meant. Into the landfills, where the battery acid leaks into nearby oceans and waterways, harming wildlife and the environment. The solution to the problem is to stop using plastic toothbrushes and electric ones and switch to bamboo toothbrushes. Not only is it good for our environment, but it is Panda approved too. With the bamboo toothbrushes, we can decompose of them. With the bottom of the toothbrush, which is the bamboo, we can use to make more. By the slides and showing them to the students, they can see why it's better to use the bamboo toothbrushes than plastic ones. Showing them we can help the environment with such a little change, and hopefully slowly they can start caring about the watershed a little more and stop using plastic, finding better ways to do or use the things they want/need. Hopefully the slides I made the classes catch the students' eyes and teach them that we can help the environment with our everyday use. Also, they can share it with their families about what they learned, and hopefully they can make a difference by switching their plastic toothbrushes to bamboo toothbrushes. The budget that I used was $246 with 45 cents was used for bamboo toothbrushes, and $134.20 was used for and it's important because it provides our community with high quality and affordable drinking water. Therefore, maintaining our watershed healthy is important because we drink out of it. We also use it for our crops and fields, which is important for local and community. With the problem I'm addressing has an integral impact because everyone brushes their teeth, and there are a lot of toothbrushes we can go through every year. A toothbrush can enter the Gulf of Mexico by our watershed and end up anywhere because of the ocean waves. And then also the SDGs were 6, 11, and 15 that are used for the Panda's Choice. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Pamela.
Yeah.
Okay, judges, how about some questions? Okay, how about Ray?
Thank you. I get to go first. Great job. I appreciate, I've never heard of bamboo toothbrushes. I guess how did you pick bamboo toothbrushes?
Well, I love like the forest and just the wildlife in general. And I feel like we are harming it, but like we can also help it because there's thousands of trees. I said that there's like thousands of bamboo trees that we can use, and even though pandas eat them, they also have like different kind of fruits, and I feel like if we ever do get to a lifetime that trees like ever stop growing, we can stop using them and change like to other things to help our environment.
Did you have to do any adjustments to your project because of the COVID and
Yes.
the precautions? And how did you overcome those obstacles of that?
It was really hard because personally I couldn't like show the slides and like catch the students' eyes and like their attention and things like that. So like I had to show them slides, Google Slides, which I did. And I didn't get as much as answers as I could have if I was there in person, which that like really just messed it up, but I tried my best and yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate your answers.
Okay, it looks like Nina has a question.
Yeah, great idea. I've never heard of bamboo toothbrushes, so that's pretty cool. But how is the best way to dispose of them that has the least environmental impact? And the second, I have a two-part question. And the second part is, if I wanted to get a bamboo toothbrush, where would I find one?
You can find them at Walgreens, Walmart, and Target. Also on Amazon. And the best way we can decompose of them, so like bamboo toothbrushes, on the bottom it has like, it's made out of bamboo, and then like the top where you brush your teeth, it's like fur kind of. And basically all you have to do is you put it like in a recycle bin and they will recycle the bamboo and take out like the part where you brush your teeth. And also normal toothbrushes take around 400 years to decompose, and bamboo toothbrushes take around 4 or 3 months to decompose, which is very more easy.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Amy, go for it.
I have a weird question for you, Pamela. So how did it feel in your mouth when you were using a bamboo? What's the difference? Can you tell?
So I said that I asked my dentist if which toothbrush would be better. And he said that bamboo toothbrushes are actually way better than plastic toothbrushes. And it felt normal, and like I felt really good with like myself because I was helping the planet in a way still and in everyday use. Yeah.
Okay, cool, Pamela. Great idea.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks,
Bye.
Pamela.
Bye.
Amazing job, Pamela. We had some minor technical issues during Pamela's presentation, but she did an amazing job powering through those. She kept her composure and picked up where she left off during those technological interruptions. Pamela's project is a great example of one of the things we can implement overnight to become better watershed stewards. Did you know it could be that easy? Like Pamela said, the bamboo toothbrushes don't feel much different to the plastic toothbrushes we use. Next, we have Saria Mowrer from Greeley Central High School presenting her project, Bracelets for Bats.
Good afternoon. My name is Saria Mowrer, and the title of my project is Bracelets for Bats. Little brown bats were once the most common microbat species across North America. However, in the past 20 years alone, their populations have decreased over 90%, and they are now critically endangered. This is largely due to white nose syndrome, a fungal disease that gets into their respiratory system and suffocates them. It wakes them up during hibernation, causing them to lose the essential fat that they have built up, consequently killing them. Scientists believe that this is largely due to unclean habitats. But where do they make these habitats? Little brown bats like to make their homes in wood piles, caves, tree bark, and even old buildings. The problem is a lot of these homes can easily be polluted. My solution? I call it the 3 Bs: bat boxes, bracelets, and brochures. Bat boxes are kind of like a birdhouse for bats. It gives them a clean and safe place to live and raise their young. I was able to put up 30 throughout Greeley, and this map, each black diamond represents one of the locations that I was able to put up. We put them in 15 locations, and we have them on brackets side by side, like these ones behind me. The color that we used is a dark cedar so that it lets in the right amount of temperature. I place them in locations that are close to food and water sources with little to no noise pollution. Bats rely heavily on echolocation, not only to hunt for their food, but to navigate their way around the night. By incorporating bracelets and brochures into my project, I'm able to spread information and get the community involved. The bracelets that I gave out, similar to the one I'm wearing now, I was able to hand out to other teachers at my school, students, peers, and I'm also planning on walking through the parks in which I put up bat boxes and giving them out to people who are walking the trails. If you go to a supermarket and you hand out brochures about produce, people are going to be more likely to be interested in it. By going to the different parks, I'm hoping to be able to incorporate the correct audience that they'll actually care about what I'm talking about. Now, you might be wondering, what is the problem? Little brown bats are a keystone species. This means that without them, our ecosystem would drastically change, and not for the better. This is due to the fact that one little brown bat eats up to 4,000 insects every single night. That's 4,500 for nursing mothers. The insects that they eat, such as mosquitoes, can carry deadly viruses that can kill not only people but also animals, such as West Nile and malaria. Earwigs and grasshoppers are also known to destroy crops, gardens, and native plants. By increasing the bat population, we'll be not just decreasing, but balancing the insect populations and therefore increasing the biodiversity. The United Nations have 17 goals to help better the planet, and their goal 15 is their Life on Land goal, to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. A big part of this is to halt biodiversity loss. By increasing bat populations, it will increase the amount of organisms in our ecosystem. None of this would have been possible if it weren't for the amazing people that I'm able to work with. Caring for Our Watersheds, which was sponsored by Nutrien this year, provided me with $1,000, which I was able to get 30 bat boxes and supplies to make and hand out nearly 200 bracelets. I was also able to print 100 brochures, like this one, to hand out with the bracelets. So people not only have a tangible reminder, but they have information that they can read up on. Greeley's natural areas and trails also matched that price and also gave me an extra $1,000 for my project. This was because before I even knew that I got into the competition, I knew that this was something I was very passionate about and that I wanted to incorporate either way. I actually reached out to the mayor of Greeley and I told him what my plan was, and he directed me to Greeley's natural area and trails, and they agreed to sponsor me. When I got in, they matched the price. So I was able to get 15 irrigation pipes from a local Johnstown farmer, which was $500. And then with the other $500, we were able to get paint for those pipes, concrete, construction materials, tools, and also a lot of really great time. The paint for those pipes would be because one of the girls that I'm working with is a UNC student. She's actually an art student, and she's going to all the different poles, and she's painting them to look like tree bark so that they blend into the environment and don't stand out. When we installed those hosts, I was able to work with a lot of amazing volunteers, and I just want to say thank you, not only to Caring for Our Watersheds, but to Nutrien and to all the amazing people that helped make my vision a reality. So thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
So we've got a time now for the judges to ask you some questions. So judges, raise your hand. I see Amy.
I have just a couple for you. One of them is, how do you ensure that the bat boxes will be maintained?
So I don't know if you can see it, but the way that we installed them was on these brackets that go all the way through both sections. So this secures them in place. We also, the way that we installed the irrigation pipes is we had them facing south so that when we put them on, they'll have the least amount of wind damage to them. I also plan on, I even have one installed just down the street from my house. So I plan on going to these different locations and just checking on them every now and then.
Cool. The other question I was going to ask you real quick is, did you have to get clearance through Greeley to put them up?
Yes. So my mentor was Chris, and he actually works with the city. And so we spent a day making 811 calls where he did the first couple, and then he had me do them. And I was able to describe the location and then how to get there. And we marked them with white posts, and the 811 was able to go around and clearance those areas and make sure that they were suitable to install there.
Okay, very nice. Okay, I think Maria had her hand up before.
Excellent job. I kind of have two questions. I'm sorry, Ray, I saw your hand go up. So my first question is, how did you get the idea for bat boxes? And the second question is, have you seen any bats in the box, and how is that going?
So I have always loved bats ever since I was little. I've never really fit in with my peers, and when I was little, I used to watch a show about a girl who was raised by bugs. And in one of the episodes, they have bats in it. And ever since that day, I fell in love. And I did research on them, and I memorized the different species, and I thought they were so cool. And so it's actually been really recent that their populations have been declining. So when I found out that their populations are declining so drastically, I knew that I had to help. And then I'm so sorry, what was your second question?
Yeah, no problem at all. I was wondering if you've actually seen bats in the boxes, like if you've been monitoring them regularly.
So we have been having trouble getting a bucket truck. We have all of the posts up, and we have the bat boxes on the brackets, but we haven't got a chance to put them on yet. However, a few years back, somebody did a similar project, and they have some in Windsor along the Poudre Trail. And I have, this last summer, I was with my family, and I recognized it. We were just walking, and I stopped. I was like, "Do you guys know what that is?" They were like, "It's a tree." I was like, no, it's a bat box, look. And I went over, and I just peeked up underneath, and you could see their little feet.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear. Thanks.
Okay, Ray, your turn.
Thank you. I'm very impressed with your budget and how you were able to increase the budget. Do you know what your total budget was then? With all your donations?
It was approximately $2,000, but it honestly was probably more than that, just because Chris and Caitlin and the people who work with the Greeley's Nature and Trails, they put a lot of time and effort into helping me, which I really appreciated. So it wasn't all just necessarily the money, but also the time that we put into it.
Sure. Well, fantastic job.
Thank you.
Crazy about what you did. I'm batty about what you did.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, judges? All right. Most excellent job, Saria. Really nice.
Thank you.
Great job, Saria. Just know you will fit in very well here at the Poudre Learning Center. So don't ever feel awkward. Just be around us and you'll fit right in.
That's right.
Amazing job, Saria. You wouldn't know this by her presentation, but Saria had temporarily lost her voice just a few days prior to the final competition. Luckily, she gained her voice back just in time for the final presentation. What an innovative approach to address the population decline of little brown bats. Saria did a fantastic job raising over $2,000 of in-kind contributions for her project on top of Nutrien's implementation funds. Make sure to keep an eye out for those bat boxes. Next, we have Yaritza M from Northridge High School presenting her project, Cutlery Can Be Decomposable.
Oh, my name is Yaritza M, and I'm a senior at Northridge High School. And for my Caring for a Watershed project, I proposed that we change from plastic utensils at my school to biodegradable ones. So at school we were given out plastic spoons and forks. So I wanted to combine them, just use sporks, which will limit the usage of two, and they're biodegradable, so it's better. At my school, because of COVID and stuff, around 150 students eat lunch a day. So a week, that meant that 600 plastic utensils were used or more, depending on if the students use a spoon and a fork and other stuff. So I calculated that each biodegradable spork weighs around 3 grams. So for 1 pound of plastic, 5.79 pounds of CO2 is released. So by using the biodegradable utensils, we eliminated 23 pounds of CO2 from going into the atmosphere. I know that we have sustainable developmental goals, and I know one of them is clean water and sanitation. So by using the biodegradable sporks at our school, we eliminated not just the CO2, but we also helped keep the plastics from going into the water and to not just our watershed, but the surrounding bodies of water. And that helps make sure our water is clean. Wherever it's going to go, it ends up clean. As you can see, I printed out a poster and I displayed it around the school to show my peers more information about the biodegradable utensils. And I don't really eat school lunch food. I take my own lunch, but I decided to eat lunch that day, and I took pictures of I took a picture of my biodegradable spork, which looks like this. It also feels like a regular utensil. It doesn't feel weird or anything. And it takes 180 days to decompose compared to normal plastic cutlery, which will take 450 years for one single piece.
Yeah, I have a question. Did you consider having reusable ones instead of another disposable one?
Yeah, I considered that first for my project, but then we would have to hire someone at our school to wash them and stuff like that. Because at school we use most of the stuff is it gets thrown out. It can't be reused again, and especially during COVID, we're not allowed. Right now, we're not allowed to share stuff or use stuff like that. So I think for this year and this project, biodegradable was the way to go.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Maria, did you want to have a question?
Yeah, nice work. I had a question about the budget and how it was utilized for this project.
Okay.
So could you provide a cost breakdown or?
Yes. So I used about half of the budget, and with half of the budget, I was able to order around 24,000 biodegradable utensils. And the school, we didn't because we had less students eating at school because of COVID. We have more supply left over, which will be returned to the Poudre Learning Center and Nutrien. But yeah, with half of the budget, with about $500, we were able to order 24,000 biodegradable utensils, and then with $18, I was able to print out the posters to hang around the school.
Okay, so you used about $518 then.
Yes, and then
okay.
Tax and all that.
Okay, anybody else have a question, judges? Looks like everybody's kind of deep in thought about what you presented. Okay, last chance. Okay, I think you did a good job. Everybody's okay with what they heard from you.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Incredible job, Yaritza. Who knew plastic could take so long to decompose? It makes you wonder how long our other trash materials take to decompose. Did you know that making the switch to biodegradable cutlery could make such a difference? 270 days of a difference based on Yaritza's research. Great idea, Yaritza. This year we only had 7 finalists compared to our usual 10 finalist teams. So that wraps up the final presentations.
For our keynote speaker this year, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Sean Chambers, the Water and Sewer Director for the City of Greeley. Mr. Chambers is an experienced water utility leader and has been with the city since 2018. He leads a dynamic team of water and wastewater planning, engineering, and operations professionals. Greeley is known for having one of the most outstanding water collection systems in the West, with resources from both the Big Thompson and Cache La Poudre watersheds. Mr. Chambers takes great pride in the stewardship of a proud organization that has more than 125 years of service. Tonight, he will be presenting on Greeley's water history and how his team works towards water conservation. Thank you in advance, Mr. Chambers.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Chambers. I'm the city's Water and Sewer Director, and I'm here this afternoon to share with you a little bit of background and information on the city's water and sewer utilities and how water conservation and general stewardship are key pieces of our operation. And I want to share that insight with you and congratulate you on the good work that's going on in the Caring for Our Watersheds program. So let me jump into some background on the city's water and sewer utilities. Part of our key strategic focus in water and sewer utilities is the provision of safe, reliable water service. Maintaining financial health and sustainability are imperative for our ability to provide safe, reliable service. And our service provides support for a vibrant and growing economy. It's important for water and sewer in the city in general to foster water conservation and the wise use of water. We want to contribute to environmental health and safety, support a high quality of life, and we're always looking for opportunities to foster innovation in our business and in our community. Greeley has a proud legacy of water resources and planning. Early settlers relied upon the infiltration of water into wells along the Cache La Poudre River. Greeley was set up as an utopian agrarian settlement in the West, meaning that all folks who came here had an opportunity and a responsibility to farm. Quickly, folks in Greeley realized that water quality wasn't great on the lower part of the Cache La Poudre River or the South Platte, and we were limited by supply beyond the spring runoff. So late in the year when we were trying to finish out our crops, there was very little water in the river. In the early 1900s, we sought to resolve that issue by going west to Bellevue, which is a site northwest of Fort Collins, right at the mouth of the Poudre Canyon. And we acquired land and moved some water rights and built a slow trickling sand filter, which was very advanced for its time in the early 1900s on the banks of the Poudre River. Over time, we've made a lot of infrastructure investments in development of the site. The site originally was connected to Greeley by the wooden stave pipe you see in the image at your right. We built 36 miles of this wood stave pipe and spent a lot of time maintaining and repairing it over the years. Today, there are 4 main transmission lines that connect the Bellevue site to the city of Greeley, and the Bellevue site is our 24/7, 365 days a year core water plant. In addition to the Bellevue site, which you see kind of at the top center of the map, the city operates an additional water treatment plant known as the Boyd Lake Water Treatment Plant. The second plant is our peaking plant and is situated on the south end of the Boyd Lake near the town of Loveland. So between these 2 plants, the city treats water from the 4 major river basins noted on the left side of the map. And they are the Upper Colorado River, where water is transferred under the Continental Divide via tunnel, the Big Thompson Basin, which has native rights that go into Boyd Lake, the Cache La Poudre Basin, where about 50% of our supply comes from off the river, and the Laramie, or the Upper Laramie Basin at the top of Cameron Pass, where trans-mountain ditches and tunnels bring water into the Upper Cache La Poudre. So we have a vast and diverse system of water supply and watershed collection, and that makes Greeley more resilient than most communities our size. Greeley operates with a 4-point plan, in essence. This is how we guide investments and decision-making, and fundamentally, the things we're always trying to do are continue our water acquisition, increase our water storage, improve our infrastructure in wastewater treatment, water treatment and transmission, non-potable water systems, advanced metering, and the distribution and collection systems that connect the homes and businesses to the city. Enhanced water conservation is also a key piece of our operation. We aim to be more data-driven and pursue demand management to, in effect, reduce water use by all customers. On the topic of storage, the city has been pursuing the enlargement of a surface water reservoir known as Milton Seaman Reservoir for about the past 15 years. Milton Seaman is on the North Fork of the Poudre River, just above the confluence. If you've been to Gateway Park in the Poudre Canyon, the North Fork extends north out of that park, and Milton Seaman is just around the bend. The photo at the top is a view from Gateway Park today, taken last fall, and you can see you can't see the dam site. However, if Greeley were to enlarge Milton Seaman, the lower photo is indicative of what you would see. This type of project has a tremendous cost. Depending on the size of the dam and how much water would be impounded on the North Fork, the price range for this project is anywhere from about $500 million to $1.2 billion. In addition to those large project costs, the reality is this type of dam expansion or rebuild would inundate tremendous amount of wetland, streams, and river habitat. And that inundation land is on U.S. Federal Forest Service land, state, Larimer County, State Land Board, and the city of Fort Collins. So a complicated patchwork of governmental ownership. Many state, federal, and local permits would be required, including a 404 permit, and the impacts of such a project are really tremendous. And so it's with this analysis that the city has sought to identify alternatives that would be preferential to expanding our surface water reservoir. It's unlikely that Greeley would ever receive permits, and that's the main driver. So over the last year and a half, the city's been investigating and undertaking the process of pursuing the Terry Ranch project. The Terry Ranch project was identified as a preferred alternative. It is a very large ranch in North Weld County that is underlaid by a large sandstone aquifer. The Terry Ranch project can be developed incrementally, and it adds a tremendous amount of storage and water in storage to the city's portfolio of storage assets and water rights. The water in the aquifer is drought proof. It takes a long time to recharge, but it's not subject to the hydraulic cycle and the snowpack. And therefore, in years of drought conditions, we have a lot of water in storage in the aquifer that could be tapped into. The aquifer comes full with about 1.2 million acre feet, and an acre foot is more than enough water to serve 2 households for a full year. And so 1.2 million acre feet in storage is a vast amount of water. Now, we would operate that aquifer, the water that's in it, and future water we could store in the aquifer like a bank account. We would put water in wet years and would draw water in dry years. This type of operation and asset improved Greeley's resiliency to drought. As I noted, the project can be constructed in phases. This helps us develop the project in a way that meets our demands without hitting the customer's pocketbooks with massive rate increases. It's an innovative solution, but one that's been established as a best practice across the West. And this is an opportunity for us to share the storage with other regional partners, given the vast amount of storage that's available in the project. A little bit of a deeper dive into underground storage for background here. So what you see at the left of the screen are 2 pictures essentially of the same well. During the period where you're not pumping the well and you have supply that's in excess, you can take that river water, you treat it through a traditional water treatment plant, and you inject it through the well down into the aquifer. And you can see the arrows showing the water flow outward into the aquifer, and that creates a mound or a bubble in the aquifer of stored water. This is a sandstone aquifer. It has low transmittivity rates. The water can move through it very slowly, and thus you truly do build a mound. And so the water that you're storing doesn't escape to someone else's water right. And then during the recovery period or drought, you're going to pump that well and you're going to draw down or pull the water back out. Wanted to shift gears and talk a little bit about the challenges that Greeley faces as a water provider and as a utility. Drought is at the top of our list. Droughts have become more pronounced, more extended, and the reality is they call into question the yields on our water rights. And so we need to be well prepared to respond for drought and make sure that we have good plans in place to communicate effectively with our customers to drive water conservation in periods of drought. We're also challenged by population growth. Greeley is one of the most affordable and desirable places to build housing and to live along the North Front Range. We have a robust and resilient economy, and we have available land, unlike the areas west of I-25. And so we expect Greeley over the next 50 years to grow to more than 250,000 people. And that's pretty significant population growth for a city that's currently at about 115,000. We know and expect that the climate is getting hotter, and that change creates challenges for us. One of the challenges seen in 2020 is wildfire. So 2020 saw the 3 largest wildfires in Colorado history, 2 of them in the North Front Range Mountains, the third being the Grizzly Creek Fire in the Glenwood Canyon area. These mega fires that exceed 150,000 acres are really a challenge, especially when they happen in our watersheds. Increased temperature, increased heat, increased evapotranspiration from the forest vegetation, increased dryness in the soil condition all lead to drought and to mega wildfires. And so these are real challenges that we, along with many other water utilities, face in the years ahead. The wildfires create impacts in our reservoirs. We see ash, debris, sedimentation fill the reservoirs, fill the diversion structures, and impede our ability to store water for public consumption. They impact water quality, both for municipal customers, but also for agriculturalists and for ecosystem services, right? People don't enjoy rafting in a brown river. Fishing is much more difficult when the sediment is stirred up. So some of these problems associated with wildfire are real challenges for recreation and for ecosystem services and habitat. We're concerned about sedimentation, debris, and ash with these wildfires. Greeley has a resilient water system, but you can see this map overlays the wildfire burn areas from 2020 on the Greeley infrastructure. And so Greeley gets water from 4 major river basins, and all 4 had catastrophic wildfire in 2020. While we serve about 115,000 Greeley residents, we serve about 125,000 residents in the regional picture with interconnects to Windsor and Evans and Milliken. And as a regional provider, these types of watershed disruptions are amplified throughout the NOCO region. So in this semi-arid climate, managing watershed disruptions is a very important piece of what Greeley does. A little more on the challenges we face with respect to a warmer climate. You can see we're here at 2020, and we predict that going forward, based on whichever model you look at, we're looking at an increase in temperature somewhere between 3 and 5 degrees by the year 2070. And so that has a direct impact on the vegetation here in Greeley. The same lawn, the same urban forest, the same trees, shrubs, and vegetable gardens will need more water to exist in this hotter, warmer climate. It also has impacts on the forest and how healthy that forest is and how resilient to disease and insect infestations, and ultimately how at risk it is for wildfire. So we're very concerned about a changing, warmer climate. And the main reason we're concerned is that that this damage to our watershed directly correlates into water quality issues and watershed health issues. And so the picture at the left is a picture of the Poudre River. This is following the 2013 High Park fire, which burned the lower portion of the Poudre Basin. And you can see the water supply is running black with ash. At right is a picture of early efforts to do watershed mitigation. Here we're in a drainage where a lot of water comes down a steep slope from above, and we're pre-positioning wattles, which are straw bales pounded into the ground to catch sediment and ash before it ends up in our reservoir. The 2020 Cameron Peak fire did tremendous devastation to the watershed. More than 53,000 acres were moderate to severely burned. And in some cases, that creates hydrophobic soil that in essence has a crust on top and prevents water from percolating into the soil and prevents new seeds or seedlings from growing out. 10,000 acres of that 53,000 is in dire need of stabilization mitigation, and 6,000 of that is extremely urgent for water quality and ecosystem health. And so this is the breakdown of the 208,000 acres burned in the Cameron Peak fire. Mitigation works. We know it works from our experience in the High Park fire. We know that sediment traps above our basins and reservoirs are very helpful in protecting those structures from influent sedimentation. Debris traps are very helpful before water enters the main stem or enters infrastructure. This keeps major debris from the wildfire out of important places. And then aerial mulching has been proven to be very effective. So that is to say, dropping seed and mulch from helicopters. And we can do that on slopes that are somewhere between 20 and 50% to have the most effectiveness. And that helps revegetation on those slopes and prevents sedimentation and ash from entering the river. In some places, directional tree felling is really helpful. This essentially stops the movement of sediment and soil. This is very helpful in small tributaries where we want to create natural impediments to velocity in the water. The waffles seen in previous pictures are also very helpful in some applications. And so many of these strategies were used very effectively during the High Park fire. Some other things Greeley does to be responsive to the changing landscape and the challenges of wildfire are that we're extending collaborative relationships with respect to how we develop supply. And so with our main source of supply on the Poudre, questionable at times in its quality and our ability to treat it, we've looked to other sources of supply that could maybe be traded in a creative way. And we've undertaken a substitute water supply plan with some agricultural water right owners who have significant amounts of Colorado Big Thompson water. This is the water stored in Horsetooth Reservoir in Carter Lake. That water is at a higher quality based on its time in storage and its historic diversion from the upper Colorado River. And so we're making a 1 year or possibly longer trade with these agricultural users who can better manage sediment and ash in their water supply than Greeley can. And we'll swap or trade water from Horsetooth with native water in the Poudre with these agricultural companies, and thereby making sure everybody maintains the water supply they need and allowing the lower quality water to go into agricultural uses. Regional collaboration is an important piece of what we do, not just on wildfire, but on source water protection, on legislative advocacy, on post-fire recovery, on water storage, and infrastructure in the river. You may be aware that diversions like Greeley's are an impediment to fish passage or fish swimming upstream. They're also challenging in that sometimes they divert water for extended periods of time before it's measured simply to put the water back in the river. And so we're working with other stakeholders on a project known as Poudre Flows to be able to better equip the river with measurement devices and track water as it moves down through the system and keep more water in the river. These bypass measurement diversion structures allow for more water to stay in the river and for improved accuracy and administration. The fish bypass structures work a little bit differently. In the drawn image at right, you can see that the fish swim into the horseshoe channel, and they are able to passage up the vertical incline, swimming at a more constant grade than the diversion structure creates. And then they can swim out into the native river above their bypass channel. And so this benefits several species. There have been a couple of these type of structures implemented on the upper Poudre River, the upper being, between the mouth of the canyon and Fort Collins. This particular drawing is from a structure at the Watson Lake diversion where there's a CPW fish hatchery. Another thing Greeley's doing in terms of long-term sustainability is undertaking a non-potable system upgrade. We have historically served a fair number of parks and open space and golf courses with non-potable water, but we are intending to put a lot more non-pot water into the system and connect our sites. And this helps us with long-term sustainability. So expanding the non-pot system is key to meeting long-range water demands. There simply isn't enough high-quality upper Poudre water to meet all of our indoor and outdoor irrigation demands in the year 2050 and beyond. So developing lower Poudre supplies for the non-pot uses is imperative. This allows us to maintain outdoor vegetation and ensure the sustainability of our urban forests. Converting properties where possible. The picture at right is a picture of the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners, which was a large area of potable water turf irrigation up until the year 2020, and we went in and replaced that with a non-pot system and converted that. That site, along with others at the Farr Library, the Ramsire Park, the trails, the City Trails Division, and Highland Hills Golf Course all got conversions to non-pot. We're making improvements to city facilities on an ongoing basis, and there's currently a large irrigation efficiency and non-pot project going on at the Boomerang Golf Course, along with the District 6 school site project. Water conservation is an imperative piece of our long-range water supply planning strategy and portfolio. We're using a combination of education, incentives, best practices, and regulations to meet our water conservation goals. We aim to be data-driven. 55% of the annual water use in Greeley goes to keeping lawns green, and this is a big opportunity for us to reduce that demand. We want land development policies that encourage conservation, and we have a couple of those we point to. We do raw water requirement for new development based on 3 acre-feet of water for every acre of land development, and that drives and encourages density in our community. We also attempt to do multifamily, commercial, and irrigation taps based on analysis of the type of use, the size of the parcel, and we get to a level of precision that ensures that developers aren't dedicating more or less than needed, and it encourages them to implement water-wise landscapes in their irrigation areas. We run a number of different turf replacement programs, some internal to the city, some external. We've got a couple of large ones listed here: Woodbriar Park, Bittersweet, residential customers at about 46,000 square feet. That's our Cash for Grass program. And we've also extended that to some HOAs and commercial folks. And so we run a number of programs that give rebates for turf replacement with water-wise landscapes. And we find that through polling, citizens actually prefer parks that have the right kind of turf, the right kind of landscape for the right use. So we're going to keep our ball fields and play surfaces in a more water intensive type turf. And then we're going to have water-wise grasses and more native in areas where there's not high intensity use from the general public. And so this strategy has really helped us manage the water demands in the city's parks. just kind of a wrap-up slide on conservation. I noted the importance of conservation in our long-range planning portfolio. You can see in the top graphic that the population served here in Greeley was down somewhere a bit above 80,000 people in 1997. And over the intervening decades, we're up to about 215,000 people today. And you can see that, you know, the water supply line, you know, is not on this graph, but it has been growing, but the population has been growing faster than the supply line, right? So we're experiencing a growth in population. And, you know, we have done a great job with water conservation, and that's why the amount of water used has been relatively steady since about the year 2000. The 2002 drought was a great signal for water providers to really push on their conservation programs. And so you can see, you know, in 2002 here, we actually saw a dip in reduction in use. And while some of that rebounded post-drought, we've done a good job of managing and maintaining that usage. So as population has grown substantially, overall system consumption has not. And that helps us meet the needs of a growing community while managing how much water we intake. So looking system-wide, here is a breakdown of our commercial industrial uses and our other uses, and they total up to this system total. And over the same time duration, essentially, you can see that the per capita or per user consumption has gone down significantly, and that's generally due to outdoor conservation and then indoor efficiencies in our fixtures and our appliances. So more water efficient dishwashers, washing machines, et cetera, all contribute to increased water efficiency. Lastly, I just want to make mention, you know, an important piece of what we do in terms of ecological function and environmental sustainability is our wastewater business. Our wastewater operates as a separate enterprise, but our treatment and reclamation of the water resources that we serve to our citizens, when we take that back and treat it and put it back into the river, this is an important piece of how we protect our ecosystem and protect our downstream neighbors. And so we take a lot of pride in our wastewater treatment system. We treat water to essentially a drinking water quality standard. We disinfect that with ultraviolet light, and then we put that back into the river and take credit for some of it and store some of it for future non-potable use. And the facility is EPA award winning, and it's also undergoing about a $40 million capital project upgrade to produce a small amount of additional capacity, but in essence, it's going to be able to remove nutrients to a much lower level. So that is primarily reducing the total inorganic nitrogen that's released back to the river. And that has a lot to do with managing algae, dissolved oxygen, and other important water chemistry attributes of the lower river. And so we're being good environmental stewards to make sure that the river and our downstream neighbors are cared for. So in closing, I want to share a quote with you that comes from back when Greeley pursued the Colorado Big Thompson project. Greeley was an important stakeholder in the Grand Lake Committee that had the vision to bring water from the upper Colorado to the Front Range for more sustainable agriculture and economic growth. And our forefathers in Greeley Water said, look ahead and plan for others as others have planned for you. And that's a mantra or a vision that we carry to this day. We know that Greeley is a great and growing community. We want to grow water-wise. We want to grow smart in the way we approach development and natural resource issues. We want to make sure that we're protecting, you know, a high quality of life and that we're growing sustainably. And so we spend a lot of time, resources, and money investing in how we plan for the future. And with that, I so greatly appreciate the contribution that you all are making to the watershed and to the Greeley community and to the Poudre River Basin. And if we were in a non-virtual environment, I'd be happy to answer questions. but I'll look forward to that in the year 2022. And my email is published on the city's website. You're welcome to email me or follow up with me by phone if you have something you'd like to ask about. Thank you so much. I'm honored to have been able to speak with you this afternoon and wish you all the best. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers, for the insightful presentation. The City of Greeley has taken great strides for leading water conservation efforts in our watershed. We are honored to be able to call you a partner of Caring for Our Watersheds and of the Poudre Learning Center. Up next, we have Maria Bujanovic presenting the Nutrien Address. If that name sounds familiar, that's because it is. She was one of the verbal content judges. Maria is the environmental advisor for Nutrien at the Loveland campus and has been involved with Caring for Our Watersheds since 2018. Thank you, Maria, for joining us again and for being an amazing supporter and judge. Without further ado, Maria Bujanovic.
Thank you all so much for attending Caring for Our Watersheds final competition. My name is Maria Bujanovic, and I'm an environmental advisor for Nutrien at the Loveland campus. Nutrien is the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services, reaching every major growing region of the world. In addition to the important role we play in supporting growers to sustainably feed a growing population, Nutrien strives to meaningfully contribute to communities globally and locally where we operate. I would like to thank all of the participants in this competition. You all deserve to be commended at the highest degree for all of the hard work and long hours I know you have put into your projects. Nutrien recognizes the importance of the environment to all of us, and we are so very honored to be supporting this competition. There are 9 contests held internationally each year in North America and in Argentina. Nutrien continually works to minimize our environmental footprint, and we invest in environmental programs and innovations, such as the ones presented today. In fact, Nutrien donated $10,000 to implement the ideas today. Caring for Our Watersheds Colorado has been a leader in the implementation of the finalists' ideas, and this group has taken advantage of the $10,000 that was made available today. Together, we must consistently look for ways to innovate, improve, and increase our positive impact on the environment. There are no easy answers to the challenges that lie ahead, but with the knowledge gathered and the drive of everyone here today, we can make a big difference in our effort to take care of our watersheds. Sharing environmental solutions is so important, and I want to thank each and every student here for their effort and their passion. It is up to all of us to make a difference in our watersheds. Please join me in congratulating all of our Caring for Our Watersheds finalists.
Thank you, Maria. This year, we received over 200 proposals from 223 students. We would like to recognize 2 proposals that were selected by the judges for honorable mentions. Honorable mentions are presented as the Thalwag Award. Each team recorded a short summary of their proposal and idea that we would like to share with you. Up first, we have Brettany Rodriguez Solis from Fort Collins High School describing her proposal, Motion Censored Lights.
Hi, my name is Brettany Rodriguez. I submitted a proposal to Caring for Our Watersheds titled Save the Electricity. I was concerned that lots of electricity in each school is being used daily in my watershed. To address my concern, I proposed to locate motion sensor lights in the classrooms. My plan was to locate windows average of 2 or 3 in each classroom. Later on, test it and see how much light goes through it before locating the motion sensor lights and how much light we save without using the lights that the classroom already have in a whole day. Then add the motion sensor lights if it's successful. If we add windows, they could use the light less and that would save up electricity. School lasts 7 hours and the light daytime lasts for like 4 hours and later on the day, light will get darker. That includes the steps I would have taken for my project.
Next, we have Ethan Huwadi and his team members Ariel Birnbaum, Avery Hugh, and Perry Reguiz from Poudre High School describing their proposal, Courtyard Restoration.
Hello, so today we are presenting on our watershed project and specifically courtyard restoration. So we are students at Poudre High School and we wanted to look at how we could possibly change our local environment, and so we looked at the courtyard at Poudre and we noticed that a lot of the plants in the area are not native and require a lot of water to maintain. So our project proposed a restoration to the area that would place native plants that would use way less water and provide a learning tool for students at Poudre.
The grass in the courtyard is Kentucky bluegrass, and it requires 2.5 inches of water per week. However, in Fort Collins, where this would take place, there's pretty low overall rainfall. So the courtyard grass requires quite a bit of watering and maintenance overall. By replacing the grass with native plants, the courtyard would require little water as well as little maintenance. The increase in native plants also encourages the introduction of other native species like insects and birds, and will increase the overall biodiversity of the area. This would, just as Perry mentioned previously, this would be an important teaching tool for environmental science classes like the one we're taking currently.
In order to combat the issue of water conservation and water use, and to achieve our goal of renovating the PHS courtyard, there are a couple steps that will go into the process. First of all, there will need to be a lot of research into native plants and which ones will thrive with the least amount of water or management. And then we will need to kind of map out where the plants will go in the courtyard and how they will be used to conserve water. And then finally, once all of the native plants are kind of introduced and planted, the project is completed, and this leaves the courtyard open to class research, which will lead to a general understanding of the necessity for native plants and how they can help conserve water.
Yeah, so one of our most important things that we wanted to consider was researching native plants, because we thought that was probably the most important aspect of this project. You can see there the estimated costs of the project that we were proposing. And basically, just to summarize, our action plan was really focused on helping students learn about the importance of native plants and helping reduce the strain on the watershed and how much resources we were using. So we wanted to really increase water efficiency and also educate about how increasing water efficiency and moving toward more native plants can help impact our communities in beneficial ways through reducing our water usage as well. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to both teams. Their proposals were outstanding, and we hope that they enter again next year for a chance to be selected as finalists. Both teams have taken great first steps to improve their watershed. We hope they continue their amazing efforts. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the announcement for each finalist placement in the Caring for Our Watersheds contest for Colorado. Nutrien awards a total of $6,000 to our contestants. Since 3 of our finalists dropped out of the race late in the contest, we only had 7 finalists for the final competition. That being said, the prizes will range from $450 to $1,000 for each team. This cash prize can be spent on anything they choose. In addition, each classroom represented in the finals today will receive the matching dollar amount. In other words, Nutrien is awarding close to $10,000 in cash prizes to the students and schools for all their hard work. As we announce the cash awards for these teams, keep in mind that they are the top teams out of the entire Big Thompson and Cache La Poudre watersheds. Not to mention that they managed to improve their watershed with the added challenges from the pandemic. Each team we have presented to you is a winner in the Colorado contest for Caring for Our Watersheds. The final score for each team is a combination of their proposal score, making up 35% of the overall score, and the score they earned for their verbal presentation, which will make up 65% of the overall score. The scores were really close to one another. It was not easy for our judges to determine each team's placement. We will start with 7th place. For 7th place, with a cash prize of $450, is Yaritza M from Northridge High School for her project Cutlery Can Be Decomposable. For 6th place, with a cash prize of $500, is Pamela P from Northridge High School for her project Panda's Choice. For 5th place, with a cash prize of $600, is Brookelynn Hernandez and Helena Rangel from Greeley West High School for their project, Mother Native. For fourth place with a cash prize of $700 is Emma Eddy from Fort Collins High School for her project, #WatershedWash. For third place with a cash prize of $800 is Juan RH Hernandez from Northridge High School for his project, Education for the Younger Generations. And for second place with a cash prize of $900 is Kimberly Gonzalez Jimenez from Greeley Central High School for her project, Our Blooming Watershed. That leaves first place with a cash prize of $1,000, Saria Mowrer from Greeley Central High School for her project, Bracelets for Bats. Congratulations to all the teams. We would like to take the time to recognize teachers, their science departments, and schools for inviting their students to participate in caring for our watersheds. As we mentioned before, Nutrien matches the cash prizes to participating schools that were represented in the finals. Nutrien also awards schools $10 for every entry submitted to the contest. Cash prizes will be mailed to each school's science department to be used to extend students' learning about their watershed. We'll start with Fort Collins High School. Based on their number of entries and finalist placement, their science department will be awarded $1,220. Thank you, Matt Foster, Mike Steinel, and Peter Workman for inviting your students to participate in caring for our watersheds. Now, Greeley West High School. Based on their number of entries and finalist placement, their science department will be awarded $1,380. Thank you, Carignan and Joel Suarez Ramirez, for inviting your students to participate in caring for our watersheds. Northridge High School. Based on their number of entries and finalist placement, their science department will be awarded $2,060. Thank you, Dr. Yahaira Fuentes Tauber, for inviting your students to participate in caring for our watersheds. Greeley Central High School. Based on their number of entries and finalist placement, their science department will be awarded $2,480. Thank you, Liz Mark Murphy, for inviting your students to participate in caring for our watersheds. Since the 2018 final competition, Nutrien has awarded the following total amounts to this year's participating schools for their efforts in improving their watershed by inviting their students to Caring for Our Watershed program. Fort Collins High School, $5,124. Greeley West High School, $2,780. Northridge High School, $8,544. And Greeley Central High School, $16,660. These totals include the awards from the 2018, 2019, 2020, and this year's final competition. Congratulations to all the teachers and schools, and thank you for your amazing stewardship efforts in improving our watersheds. That wraps up the 2020-2021 Caring for Watersheds contest for Colorado. Again, thank you to all the students, families, teachers, volunteers, program partners, and Caring for Our Watershed sponsors that made this virtual event possible. We cannot thank you all enough. Contestants, please keep an eye out for my emails regarding your cash prize and gifts. Teachers, we will be contacting you in August to kick off our 2021-2022 Caring for Our Watershed competition. As you plan your fall, please be sure to include us on your calendar. Our goal is to expand this opportunity to other teachers and students. Please let us know of anyone that would be interested in joining the fun. Families, be sure to enjoy your children. They have made a difference in the world. Thank you all for joining us.